Are at the fifth episode, family of the 100 Girlfriends who really love you anime series, right? So happy to finally be able to, well, not finally be able to, but I'm really just happy to, I guess just say that really, like aside from just manga and the light novel, I'm really happy that we have this anime fam. But anyway, going back, the fifth episode has finally aired, right? And if I do say so myself, an incredibly beautiful and efficient episode to debut our efficient heroine Nano. So let's just jump right into this episode, right? I'm just gonna walk you through the entirety of the episodes, right? There's gonna be spoilers, right? I'm gonna acknowledge that, and I'm just also going to give my thoughts as well on how well they conducted this episode, of which, personally speaking, I really love how they were able to really, again, as I've said in other reviews as well, with all of the episodes from this series, or from this anime rather, the way that they have directed this episode to really fit, as not as much I suppose, but really fit beautifully well the entire story arc, so to speak, of Nana, right, within this episode. It's incredibly amazing and beautiful, and I love with what they've done with it, right? So to start off, it opens this episode opens up with Hakari, Karane, and Shizuka looking for their exam rankings. Now, with this entire bit, I really love how already it's established that they're so close with each other. And one thing as well that I really love, and I'm happy as well that is being animated, right? This moment is being animated is when the characters make that sort of throbbing face. Sorry, that came out really wrong. You know that, for lack of better term, a heartthrob face, right? When they get so when they do this with their faces, essentially, right? I really love those moments, and hearing it out loud in this anime, the way that not only is it being animated, but the way that it sounds, the sound design of it is so incredibly cute. I really love how they, how they brought it to life, how they brought it to this animation medium. It's so incredibly good. And one thing that I also really love, and I want to point out as well, is that I really appreciate that in the anime, the way that when Shizuka conducts her conversations, right, or when she has dialogue in the story, she uses her phone, right, the text-to-speech app. And I also really love the detail that they put in there, that sometimes they'll also put in Shizuka actually, typing the words out before she speaks them, or before when the device speaks it for her, right? So yeah, on that part, I really love that detail. Moving on, right? Rentaro meets Nano eye to eye, right? The first time when they both lock eyes together, and we get the shock moment, right? When Rentaro finds out that Nano is a soulmate, right? A soulmate who is destined to be with him, right? Or of which they're gonna be they're destined to be together. Now, they all, Hakari, Karane, Shizuka, and Rentaro get together in business, discussing their rankings and such. A cute comedic scene happens here and there, and Rentaro inquires about the top one student, who is Nano, right? So he asks about who Nano is, what her whole shtick is, essentially, and it's revealed through this that Nano is this sort of character, right? Indeed, a character who is all about the efficiency, right? She's someone who's as sort of AI-ish, right? Hence the pun in her family name, right? AI Nano, right? Now, Rentaro, in the next scene, we get to see Rentaro and Nano partner up for a science activity, and yep, this whole funny bit is, I find it to be really funny and hilarious as well. We get to dive into the more eccentric or unorthodox means, the efficient means of Nano, right? In the way that she does things, right? And she does things in a super efficient manner, right? Another one of the things that I really love about Nano is her level of logic, reason, and really comedically rational points of view, right? To the point where you'd question, or where you'd think, right, that hey, she's not wrong, but it could be wrong in a way, right? But yeah, everything that Nano does essentially throughout this story, even till now, incredibly beautiful, and I'm really so happy with this character, right? With Nano's character. And I'm not spoil anything further. All I can say is that I really love her entire character development throughout this manga, right? And that also plays that sort of a statement of mine also ties into her personality, right, or to her character trait. Now, furthermore, I also wanted to really stress the way, again, we saw this through the promotional materials, right, the trailers, PVs, and all sorts of artworks that we get to see from Nano or about Nano, right? The beauty and elegance of Nano is animated so beautifully, so majestically, and yeah, I'm really happy with the way that it turned out, right? Akane Yano-san, who is the chief animation director, incredible job with all of the characters indeed, and Nano is definitely another hit, right? Another successful win. Next, we move on to the scene where Nano and Rentaro are just following up on a conversation that they had, right? Essentially, this conversation talks about the value and meaning of doing things, of everything essentially, right? And everything that you do, especially hobbies and the like, because Nano views life in a sort of, this moment highlights her straightforward point of view where everything is by the book, right? Everything is sort of calculated in one way or another, but most importantly, she does things in a manner of which it's only, if it manages to accomplish something in the future for her, if it's something that is beneficial for her, right, then she would do whatever it is and whatever it takes, if I do add on to that, because wow, everything Nano does the wildest the wildest things to achieve whatever goal she has in mind. If there's a means of doing it efficiently, then she would certainly do it no matter what. And we've seen this sort of gag of hers appear countless times throughout the story. It's the sort of one of the jokes that Nano's character delivers, and it never fails to land every single time. I really love it. And in the anime as well, thus far, with the way that she does things, it is hilarious. But another thing that I also wanted to point out as well is Asumi Seto's performance or voice acting towards Nano's character. Now, Asumi Seto is the voice actress of Nano, and she really does deliver so beautifully Nano, right? You can really feel the level of emotionlessness, right, so to speak. But yeah, and just the grace and beauty and elegance in the way that she conducts the voice acting, right, of Nano's character is incredibly beautiful. And Nakamura Sensei, who also commented on the voice acting of Asumi Seto on Nano, right, and if I remember correctly, and to paraphrase, to quote, right, to sort of paraphrase, right, from the Google Translate that I've translated from the comments of Nakamura Sensei, who is the author of this manga series, right, and I paraphrase quote that Nano's or Asumi Seto's voice, or Nano's voice, is some that is really like AI, but it's something that AI could never produce, right? Her voice is so really, it has that sort of nice charm to it that's so icy, emotionless, but also so full of, life and passion. But yeah, it may seem too perfect, right? Too perfect. Hence why, it's referred to the AI, because AI, quote unquote, may rule out things to be this perfect system, right, and so to speak. But it's something that AI could never produce. Artificial intelligence could not replicate the talent that Asumi Seto has towards voice acting, and the many voice roles that she does throughout many of the characters proves that. I really love the delivery of Nano's lines when it comes to the deadpan moments or expressionless moments, the climactic moments in the series, of which in the series and in this episode, of which it will show up later, and towards the flustered moments as well when she blushes and the like, right, which you also get to see in the following scene when she goes home and looks back on the day, on what happened, on what she did, right, and thinking on how unconventional it was for her to do those things, right? And I really love this scene as well. A lot of cute Nano moments here and there. She's confused on what these feelings are, so on and so forth, right? Then we get to the scene where Nano confesses to Rentaro. Rentaro accepts it, but then gets rejected by Nano. And yeah, this whole exchange is just hilarious and funny. I'm really happy with the way that it was delivered, right? Again, the voice acting of this series never fails, right? Again, and we also get to see this entire exchange, right? What comes out of it is Rentaro's determination to not give up, right? It's a moment in the series to also further demonstrate the lengths that Rentaro would go to in order to be with his distant soulmate, right? Hence, which then led rather to this amusement park date, right? So Rentaro wanted to prove to Nano how love and being in a relationship is not meaningless in one's life, right? Baseline level, that's the sort of gist, so to speak, right, of this entire of Nano's story arc, right, of her introduction arc, right. Now, in the amusement park date itself was really quite enjoyable. I really enjoyed every single scene of it, right? Nano being herself, pointing out all of the inefficiencies of the things found in amusement parks, right, and just essentially just bringing down logic straight up, you know, in this wonderful dreamland of, you know, of wonder, right? An amusement park that's essentially, you know, that's magical, so to speak, right? And then you have Nano just being like just being a quote unquote wet blanket to a lot of the things, right? But in its own way, it's also kind of hilarious and cute, you know. Rentaro, as usual, he's capturing every moment with an instant camera, and it's also really fun to see Nano enjoying all of the rides of the park and essentially questioning their purposes, right, as to why this is needed, why humans enjoy these sorts of things, right? Yeah, and I also really love as well how they included this extra illustration moment, right, within the anime. I really love it. Then we lead up to this moment where Rentaro took Nano to a Ferris wheel ride, which is the last part of the date, and it was then revealed that Nano has a fear of sorts. And then we have this beautiful moment shared with them, and yeah, do not really spoil too much on that. I just really love it, right? But at the end of their date, they hopped down the Ferris wheel, they took a break, took a look back on the pictures essentially that they've taken together, and Nano still argues and still claims that it was meaningless, right? Everything that they've done on their date, although she admitted that it was fun and she enjoyed themselves, she still gained nothing of value, so to speak, right? And then Rentaro proceeds to burn the photos that he has taken, but Nano stopped it just in time before it was, you know, it was fully ruined. Now, this is the moment that showed how Nano did gain something from this entire experience, right? She finally has something that she wanted to cherish, something that is meaningful, and it was because Rentaro took those photos, right? He took those photos, which is a physical copy of the memories that they've spent together, right? That it then reminded Nano on how important those memories are. Because if Rentaro didn't took those photos, right, let's say that he didn't took any photos, right, they just went on their date as is, right, he had no means of disposing them, those memories, or the memories that they've created, right? Sure, they could just, you know, walk away and forget about it, but yeah, that's what would likely precisely happen if Rentaro didn't take. But because Rentaro did take those photos, right, it was a physical reminder, physical copy to really prove his point that Nano's when there was something that was in the verge of being destroyed, that the fact that Nano stopped it means that she actually really cared for it. She gained something of value, right? She found some meaning to it because she didn't want to lose it, right? And again, this is all just sort of the baseline idea of Nano's exchange between Rentaro, right? But yeah, overall, a beautiful moment really happens between the two of them, right? It's incredibly beautiful. And yeah, throughout Nano's entire character, there's really more levels to her than meets the eye, right? But yeah, I'm just sharing with you the sort of idea on what on who Nano is, right? Well, after all that, Nano gets introduced to Hakari, Karane, and Shizuka, and well, Karane was, I guess, tired of it all and just, blatantly accepts what's coming to it. Hakari was, impressed by Rentaro, and Shizuka also goes along with the flow. And after a few exchanges between between the five of them, right, Hakari's scheming worked beautifully, which will then eventually lead them to an exciting plot in the next episode, of which I really can't wait to see animated. Veteran fans who know what's up, right? And that's essentially about it for this episode. I can't wait for the next one, indeed so. And yeah, thank you for listening, family.